Last week I introduced you to Barb O'Neill, and we quoted from her book, Self-Heal by Design. And in that book she talked about there being 3 essential nutrients for life, that being fiber, protein, and fat. Well, what about carbohydrates? Aren't they essential too? So we're going to explore that in today's nugget. First of all, what she has to say about fiber is this. She's saying that at the same time as we consider fiber, one is considering the vitamins and minerals. The food with the highest fiber is vegetables. They are also the highest source of minerals. Minerals make up the basic components of the body, but they cannot function without the vitamins. These 2 essential nutrients are necessary for every chemical reaction in the body. Right? So fiber is also found in fruit, legumes, nuts and seeds, and whole grains. A fact not realized by many is that the refining of grains to remove the fiber can also remove up to 80% of the vitamins. So what she is saying is that your fibrous foods are your fruits and vegetables, your nuts and seeds, your legumes, and your whole grains. There is no fiber in animal products. And these fiber-based foods, in their whole unrefined state, make up complex carbohydrate. And these carbohydrates with this complex structure satiate you and do not initiate a blood sugar spike. But when you remove the fiber and refine these products, then you get your simple carbohydrate. They turn to sugar quickly in the body and create havoc. The exception to this, though, is the grains, because even though they are high fiber, high protein, they are also high carb, whether they are refined or in their unrefined whole grain state. So we're talking your pasta, your rice, your breads, your cereals, your cakes and cookies and biscuits. Whether they are refined or unrefined, they still turn quickly to sugar. In light of how the body deals with excess glucose produced on a high carbohydrate diet, is it not surprising then that 280 new diabetics are diagnosed daily in Australia? Well, I did a check and there's about 4,500 daily in the United States. Daily. Also, since the excess glucose in the body stores as fat, it is clear why 62% of Australians today are overweight. 62%. Even scarier is the realization of how the high carbohydrate diet, with its high glucose delivery to the blood, is supplying cancer cells with their favorite fuel and at a high rate. Carbohydrates therefore need to be viewed as the negotiating part of the meal. They do not necessarily need to be eliminated, but seriously reviewed. Our consumption of carbohydrates will change depending on our size, our weight, our height, our age, our fitness level, our physical activity, our mental activity, and our health. So if you think of carbs as simply supplying the glucose for immediate energy to the body, then a slight lady with very little physical activity will only need a small plate of pasta to meet her energy needs, but then a husky man doing hard physical labor will need a larger plate of pasta to meet his energy requirements. But because if this glucose is not all utilized to satisfy your energy needs, then the excess is creating blood sugar spikes and storing as fat. Make sense? So now I'm going to make it very clear to you a breakdown of what to include in your daily food program. So first of all, let's start with our 3 essentials. First is your fiber, fruits and vegetables. Second is your vegetarian protein. I'm going to say legumes, which is your beans and your lentils. Your third thing is fats. So here you have your nuts and seeds, your avocado, your olives, and your coconut oil. That's your healthy fats. So there's your 3 essentials, and then you add the carbohydrates as your energy demands require. So hopefully grains that are gluten-free. So you see what we've done with the protein sources then. Your cleanest source is your legumes, because your nuts and seeds are going to be taken in smaller quantities as the healthy fat, and then the grains are your high carb. So how many are getting their daily beans and lentils? So does that make it clear? If not, feel free to contact me and we can have a chat. So grains are not a regular part of my diet, but when you take my raw food retreat, I teach you how to make a raw bread from sprouted grains. So we make a pizza crust or an enchilada or a calzone. But for a cooked bread, a good option is the Ezekiel sprouted grain bread. So here's an example of their wrapper for their wraps. So they have, as well as breads, they have wraps. And you'll find them in the frozen food section of your market. And I particularly like the sesame loaf, or actually one of my favorites as well is the cinnamon raisin. So this is what the cinnamon raisin bread looks like, and it's just excellent.